are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm Dylan Everything on Twitter. Here to talk today and Liz Auburn Athletics news. As today, we are going to be previewing the quarterback room going into the 2025 season. Also, I do want to know, just a question out there, what did you get from the surplus sale if you were there? I think I spent around $170 in total. I got me a jersey from the 2019 season, the 150 year. I had to get it because of the patch. I got an orange jersey, which I'm probably going to end up putting up there where that basketball jersey is, just to show off the orange jersey. I got to. I'm one of the biggest supporters of the orange jersey. Got a pair of gloves, couple of shirts, and of course, I had to get a couple of quarter zips that I'm going to be wearing very much so throughout the year. So today, talking about the Auburn quarterback position, of course, this has been a very hyped up room. I think there's been graphics galore speaking about how talented this room is. Just getting a couple of guys who were, highly touted as recruits. Starting off with Deuce Knight, I think it's like the best to start off with. Of course, there are a couple other guys, Will Myers and John Colvin, the walk-ons. I don't think we're really going to be talking about them too much this year, unless, Auburn's up by 74 and you don't want to put anybody else in. So throw in the walk-ons. But yeah, starting off with Deuce Knight, a guy who I think is going to be the third-string quarterback by the depth chart standards. I would expect him to get redshirted and probably limit him to just showing up in 4 games this year. But Deuce Knight, very talented quarterback out of George County, Mississippi. Again, 5-star over the past few years. 6-4 as a senior for the team, but had a very, very good season himself. 2,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Also had almost 500 yards on the ground and added 12 touchdowns to that. And was, of course, the MVP of the annual Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game in December and had himself a day on that one. Ran all over the place. So Deuce Knight, again, I think he's one of the biggest names of the offseason thus far because he's been one of the main focal points of this offense throughout that, because Jackson Arnold, again, was not able to participate in A-Day, but Deuce Knight was. And, of course, that was the guy everybody was watching. So I think Deuce Knight got a little bit of a bump, more so than he already had during that, because, Auburn fans got to see Deuce Knight in action. But, again, I think this is still Jackson Arnold's team moving forward. But Deuce Knight, again, a super talented guy, going to be a lot of fun to watch whenever it is his time. And I do believe he is the quarterback of the future. I think just with what he is as a dual threat guy, that size, 6'4", 217, I think he's going to be super talented and can do wonders for the Auburn football program moving forward. And, you hope that, Jackson Arnold has a great year and is able to go off to the NFL draft. That way Deuce Knight gets, 3 uninterrupted years as the starting quarterback for the Auburn Tigers. It's what you hope for, because, that is like the best case scenario. I don't imagine see Deuce Knight too much this year outside, those trying to get that quota for red shirts. But looking at the games like Ball State, South Alabama, and Mercer are probably going to be the games you're going to see the most of Deuce throughout this year. It goes back to seeing Hank Brown get in a few games, Holden Geriner getting a few games throughout their careers at Auburn. Of course, you're like John Franklin III in 2015 got to go in for trick plays. You might see Deuce Knight in. Because going into the next guy, Ashton Daniels, the guy that's also, recently been on campus, just got back to campus. 1,700 yards last year, 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions for the Stanford Cardinal. From Buford, Georgia last year, ran for almost 700 yards on the ground and got 3 touchdowns as well. So watching both Ashton Daniels and Deuce Knight, of course, both dual threat guys, but there's a little bit more trust in Deuce Knight's arm, and there's more trust in the legs of Ashton Daniels. So if you do see more of each, it's going to be mostly because each one does, different things. And if something were to happen to Jackson Arnold, a guy that Bruce Pearl, that Hugh Freeze has discussed in length that can do both things. And we've seen Jackson Arnold able to run. He ran all over Alabama last year. But watching Ashton Daniels, I think there's a lot more trust that he can run the ball well. And if Jackson Arnold were to exit a game, I think you switch to a 2-quarterback set, letting Ashton Daniels show off what he can do with his legs and letting Deuce Knight kind of show off how polished of a passer he is. Which, again, I would be completely mad at it. And again, the 2-quarterback, it means you have no quarterback thing. it works for a starting quarterback. But whenever you are kind of backs against the wall and you need a quarterback to go in there, you choose the best one for the situation going forward. So if Deuce Knight is the better option there, you put in Deuce Knight. But if Ashton Daniels works better, like say it's like the red zone or inside the 10-yard line or on the goal line, really, Ashton Daniels probably is your best option in terms of backup quarterbacks. So, yeah, super stoked for both these guys, see how they get utilized throughout the year. Of course, everyone's going to be hyped about Deuce Knight going forward. But again, I think you have two very solid quarterback 2 options going forward, quarterback 2, quarterback 3, just kind of depending on how they look in the depth chart. But Ashton Daniels, again, late enrollee, is going to be taking part in fall camp, so get to see a lot more of him. Deuce Knight did get to make a couple of great throws yesterday during the practice. I heard he made a very beautiful throw to Eric Singleton. I think it got posted everywhere. Eric Singleton's going to have a great year, and it's going to be a fun year for the Auburn wide receiver room. And if they have a quarterback that can throw it to him consistently and correctly, then you got that going for you. But of course, talking about quarterbacks, you got to talk about the starting quarterback in Oklahoma, a former Oklahoma quarterback, Jackson Arnold. Last year for the Sooners, 1,421 yards, 12 tutties, and 3 interceptions. On the ground, 444 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. I do believe he got those 3 touchdowns in one game. Not mistaken, or did he only get 2? Oh, he didn't score a single touchdown versus Alabama. I thought he did. Never mind. Those 2 touchdowns on the ground came from Tulane, and another one against, I think it's Maine. So yeah, Maine. I'm looking at I just see the acronym there, but again, Jackson Arnold, a very talented guy, 5-star plus quarterback coming out of high school. Love Jeff Lebby, committed to the Sooners, and then Jeff Lebby left for Mississippi State, and then everything went downhill for Oklahoma's offense. Injuries galore, incapabilities of doing anything well. But Jackson Arnold, I don't say he was a high point of the season for Oklahoma. I think a lot of people, Oklahoma fans, are probably excited to see him go. Something along those lines. Michael Hawkins had to play for a good substantial part of the year. Again, that is the quarterback Auburn had to play against. But Jackson Arnold, I mean, very talented guy. RPO guy, loves the offense that Hugh Freeze is running on the Plains. And I think it does work out very well in Auburn's favor to get a guy, who does have all this talent. I would say, I mean, they've already said on graphic-wise, this most talented room by high school ratings that Auburn has ever seen. But Jackson Arnold does have probably the most potential of an Auburn quarterback since Bo Nix, which doesn't feel like it's that long ago, but I mean, that's 2021 we're talking about. And really, like, the last time Auburn was relevant in the national space was in that 2021 season early on before Bo Nix went down. And, that kind of cost Auburn a lot. It turned the tides in the wrong direction for Auburn going into the future. So yeah, Jackson Arnold, again, a very solid quarterback. And again, the turnovers are a big prevalent issue to talk about, because he did have an issue. Interceptions, 3 interceptions in a season is pretty good. But when you talk about the size of the reps that he got, I mean, it would be pretty bad. But fumbles were his issue. Fumbles were his kryptonite last season. A lot of fumbles, a lot of turnovers that, he could have easily held onto the ball for. If those can change, I do see a positive outcome from the exchange to get Jackson Arnold. Again, last year for Auburn, Peyton Thorne threw for 2,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and combine that with almost 300 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns as well. I think you're looking at, along the same stat line pass-wise, I'd probably even say more yards through the air. Auburn should be able to have a 3,000-yard passer this year. I think it's the first time it would happen since 2017 with Jarrett Stidham, because you're getting a guy who does have the talent level that Stidham had, and again, like a guy like Bo Nix had, to where they have the capability to sling the rock. So I think 3,000 yards passing is not out of the realm of possibility for Jackson Arnold. And again, touchdown, you have the best wide receiver room in the SEC. So touchdowns should come fairly easy for these guys. Eric Singleton's going to be a dog. Cam Coleman's going to be a dog. Horatio Fields, I mean, if you're inside the 5-yard line, you want to throw the ball, Horatio Fields is your guy. So very fun to watch how this offense is going to kind of shift. I think, again, I mean, there was a talking point last year with Peyton Thorne to where, like, if he hit 2,500 yards, it meant Auburn's going to have a good season. That did not turn out well. The offense did improve, but they were not consistent. The offense got better, but turnovers. And again, I mean, look at those games last year. Cal and Arkansas, those are winnable games if you don't throw throw an interception 4 times in one game. It's just that's easy to lose games whenever you are consistently giving up the football. And again, Cal was 4 interceptions. I think Arkansas was 5 interceptions. And again, Auburn kind of cleaned it up towards the end of the year. I mean, after Oklahoma, you went 2 weeks without an interception. Both losses, though. Threw an interception versus Kentucky, but you still able to pull out with that win. Offense just was sputtering all over the place against Vanderbilt. Was not able to get in the end zone, and then didn't have another interception until A&M, and then Alabama had one as well. And again, another game where Auburn could have won had it not been for their own stupid mistakes. So Jackson Arnold, again, a guy that Hugh Freeze has been talking about ad nauseum at this point, about how his confidence level is a lot higher than it was at Oklahoma. And you do want your quarterback to be confident. I don't know if you want to be confident in the sense of you're going easy on him, so he's feeling confident because you're going easy on him, which I was not a fan of that comment. But I can see from a guy who did have a ton of turnovers last year, it probably does work mentally. But it just, like, in the game situation, I mean, you're playing against the best in the SEC, and they're not going to go easy on you at all. There won't be a single play where no one is going to try to hit him as hard as they possibly can. But again, with this offense, I mean, last year the wide receiver room was really good, just very young. KLS again had a absolutely phenomenal day at the Hall of Fame game, and people are learning KLS's name. Auburn fans already knew how good he was. Penn State fans wish they could claim him, but they cannot. But yeah, you replace KLS with the production you can get from Eric Singleton, and then of course you have Horatio Fields coming in there. You return the Freeze 4, and you looking at an offense that has an offensive line where the hype is building up for this offensive line day by day. Xavier Chaplin did a lot of the heavy lifting with that, as well as Connor Liu, and then bringing back 2 interior very consistent guards, and Jeremiah Wright and Dylan Wade, and of course Mason Murphy or Xavier Miller, whoever you see at that right tackle position. Very talented offensive line. Running backs are reliable guys. None of them have really popped out yet on the national scale, but have been guys that Auburn can rely on. Tight ends, Preston Howard has been having a very good fall camp thus far, showing off that he does have the capabilities to be a very good receiving tight end for the Auburn Tigers. And, of course, you have guys like Brandon Frazier, who, very good, multifaceted tight end that can block and can catch whenever he needs to. Offense looks the part. And if Jackson Arnold can have himself a year, I mean, I'm not going to put him in the same regards as Peyton Thorne here, but, I mean, we were talking about Peyton Thorne getting 2,500 yards and that being a good year for Auburn. Yeah, I think Jackson Arnold can hit the 3,000-yard mark. I think the reliance on the run game is not going to be as prevalent. It's not going to be in the center of this offense. You're not going to have Jarquez Hunter that you can just heavily rely on, give him the ball 20 times a game, which Auburn rarely did that anyways, but they should have. Damari Alston, Jeremiah Cobb, Alvin Henderson, and Darrell Robinson, those 4 guys. I don't really think we're going to see too much of Alvin Henderson, but those other 3 guys are going to be very heavy in this offense in terms of being an out and being a reliable source of yards when they need to be. But I think Auburn's going to be more of I'm going to say like 60-40 in the passing direction in terms of the offensive production. So, yeah, I'm super excited to see this. I mean, this has not been a thing Auburn has done in quite some time. Again, 2017 would be the last time I could say Auburn was consistently trying to pass the ball more than they run it. And that's strictly because of the quarterback. So when you get a guy like Jackson Arnold, who all you have to do is tap a little bit into the potential that he has, and if he's consistent, he's going to have a great year for Auburn. Again, quarterback room-wise, again, I completely agree. This probably does end up being one of the more talented rooms we've seen in quite some time. I can't even think of what I would compare that to. It's definitely not been in the Hugh Freeze era, and I'd go further back to even say, I can't even think the last time Auburn had 2 very good quarterbacks on the same roster. Maybe 2017 when you had Malik Willis and his untapped potential with him. But even then, I don't think you've had guys who have starting experience all like back to like your two starters have starting level experience. But yeah, again, I think we've covered most of the offense at this point. Going to be sticking to the defense the remainder of the position preview series. Of course, as we are recording this, it is currently Sunday at 3:00 p.m. recording it. It is 26 days away, and Auburn football blesses our screen yet again on, I think, ESPN at 7:00 p.m. So again, super excited for that. Football season it's so close. And again, if you love college football, it's a week before that. It's that Saturday, and week 0 is underway. And of course, if you like the NFL, that's starting up soon as well. But yeah, super stoked for the season. Let me know what you think of the Auburn quarterback room in the comment section below. Give me your predicted stat line for Jackson Arnold. Again, I don't know if turnovers completely go away, but again, I think you're looking at 5-6 interceptions. Touchdowns, I think you could hit 20 very easily with this wide receiver room. And again, I think you're looking at a 3,000-yard passer for the Auburn Tigers this year. I am super high on Jackson Arnold this year. And, Boog and glasses are sitting right next to me, and I will be – if Auburn gets a staple win, they will be thrown in my face immediately. But, again, let me know what you think in the comment section below of the Auburn quarterback room. Give me your projected stat line for Jackson Arnold. Make it a little fun. How many games or how many touchdowns do you think Deuce Knight will be responsible for in 2025 as the second/third string quarterback? Let me know in the comment section below. But of course, with that being said, thanks for tuning in to the College Hoops Podcast yet again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, getting us to 1,000 subscribers. It'd be super cool to reach that milestone before the start of the college football year. Just a few more subscribers away. Don't forget to check us out on audio version of the show as well, Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Social media platforms, every single one of them. You can find us at the College Loop. And of course, you want to follow me personally at Dylan Lark on Instagram, at Tank Talk Football on Instagram as well. Also got me on Twitter at Tank, as well as my TikTok as well. Go check me out over there. But that being said, thanks for tuning in to the College Loop Podcast yet again. And as always, War Eagle.